Kate had just arrived at the exquisite suite and stepped into the restroom to freshen up. But the moment she came out, her heart skipped. A woman dressed in expensive silk and diamonds was standing in the middle of the room. Kate froze. Who are you? And what are you doing here? She asked, slowly edging toward the phone. She needed security. The woman smiled calmly. There's no need to call anyone. Nobody is coming. At that exact moment, 3 hefty, muscular men walked in and shut the door behind them. Kate's blood ran cold. She felt like a rat caught in a trap.
"Young lady," the woman said, sitting gracefully on the couch. "Have a seat. We need to talk about my husband. I know you are here to be with him."
She leaned forward slightly. "And be very careful what you say, because those might be your last words." This is African Folktales with Nsinem. Listen to this story. Kate and Yemi were the it girls at Abuja. At 24, Kate already had 5 houses at high-class areas in Abuja, 5 luxury cars, and a wardrobe filled with luxury items. But she had no job or business to her name. All she had was a pretty face and a body to die for. Kate and Yemi had started with the father of their friends, and during their university program, they graduated to successful businessmen. Then they moved to Abuja, placed their degree certificate under the box, and went into full-blown slay queen lifestyle. Kate was the terror of married women. She had a hold on these men nobody understood. When they spent a night with Kate, they would gift her money in millions. There was no holiday location Kate had not visited. If you met Kate outside, you would not believe her parents owned a church. After 1 year in Abuja, she arrived at her father's house with a Lexus Jeep. Her father was so proud of her, but her mother was not having it. "Kate, how were you able to afford it? What did you do in Abuja to be able to afford this car under 1 year?" she asked. But Kate's father immediately shut his wife up. "My daughter is favored, so until she stays there for 30 years before she reaps the abundance of the kingdom," he asked his wife. But neither of Kate's parents would have envisaged calamity that was waiting for their daughter. How could they have when things were going so well for Kate? She had been with one of her sponsors, like she calls them, when his wife called. From the conversation, the lady had asked for 1 million naira to invest in her business. The man had been staying with Kate for 2 weeks at a rented luxury apartment. The man told his wife that he didn't have money to give to her at the moment. Immediately after the call ended, Kate drew closer to him and whispered into his ears, "Chief, I have a problem." She pouted and batted her eyelashes. "How can you have a problem when I am here?" the middle-aged man asked. "Just tell me what the problem is and consider it taken care of immediately. How can you have a problem when you are my baby?" he teased. Kate grinned from ear to ear and drew closer. "Chief, the problem can be solved with 8 million naira, she said in a very sultry voice. "Just that?" the sponsor asked. "Consider it done," he said. 2 days after, Kate returned to her apartment, 8 million naira richer. Yemi, her friend, was equally beautiful, and she lived a larger-than-life lifestyle like Kate, sponsored by her sugar daddies, of course. But Yemi had a boyfriend. The young man was residing at Lagos, and most of the time, Yemi would visit him and spend time with him. As far as her boyfriend knew, Yemi worked at an ICT firm and was well paid. Whenever her boyfriend, Ashley, visited her, she would switch off her phones and give him all her attention. But once he was gone, she was back to her baddie and slay queen lifestyle. The two friends were 2 peas in a pod. Kate knew Yemi's boyfriend, and they both resolved that he was off limits. Besides, Kate specialized only in sugar daddies. Kate loved the power she had over her sponsors, until her luck ran out. And it all began the night Yemi mentioned one name, Professor Toby. Yemi had attended a gala with one of her sponsors when Toby was called up to address everyone. Yemi had felt every part of her tingle. But she couldn't go after Prof. Toby because the man that took her to the gala was Professor Toby's friend. The Alhaji had introduced her to Toby. "Toby, meet my little Candy," the Alhaji had said. Toby was handsome, and close up he looked like a chocolate statue. Toby had joked, "Oh, Alaji, what a debatable candy. Is this a special arm candy or can she be passed around?" Toby had asked in a deep baritone voice. Alaji had let out a deep laugh. "Oh, Toby, you joke too much. This one is exclusively mine," the Alaji had said, marking his territory. So Kate got home and told her friend to go for Professor Toby. Neither of the two friends had heard of him, and it was for good reason. Kate immediately called their resource person to inquire about Professor Toby. And after a 5-minute call, Kate knew where the next event Toby was going to be attending was and when. "Babe, you know say na me bring am. If he clicks with Toby, you go find something for me," Yemi said. Kate immediately agreed. "Why not? Don't you trust me again?" Kate said, and the two friends giggled. They had no idea they were walking straight into Kama's patient clause, and Kama never forgets a debt. Their contact had told her that the professor was going to attend a little dinner hosted by the president himself. Kate knew she had to be there. From what their contact had said about Toby, he was stinking rich, and the picture she had been sent of Toby by her resource person took her breath away. The man was handsome. Kate never considered looks when picking and accepting her sponsors, but for the first time, the looks matched the pocket. Kate couldn't wait to see him physically. Kate racked her brain to figure out which of her sponsors would be invited to such the exclusive dinner with the president. A name came to mind and she immediately called the man. The man told her he had been planning on bringing his wife, but immediately told her she would be joining him there instead of his wife. When the call ended, Kate chuckled. "Oga, you know here of bottom power. Abeg, drop that your dusty wife at home, abeg," Kate said. Then she put a call across to her designer. She wanted an outfit befitting to see Prof. Toby in. Days after, Kate stood in front of her mirror for the 5th time that evening. The dress clung to her body like it had been sewn directly onto her skin. It was a deep emerald gown, the daring slit that stopped just inches below her thigh. Her makeup was flawless, her lashes long, her lips glossy. Diamonds sparkled on her ears and wrist. Tonight was not just any night.
Tonight, she was going to meet Professor Toby. She smiled at her reflection. "Let's see if the great professor can resist perfection," she whispered. Her phone buzzed. Her sponsor had arrived. The convoy alone announced wealth. 3 black SUVs, armed escorts, a driver in white gloves. The security at the gate didn't even ask questions before opening immediately. Kate stepped out slowly, allowing every eye to land on her. Heads turned, whispers followed. Women glanced at her and then at their husbands. Kate was used to it. She walked beside the chief like she owned the ground beneath her heels. Inside the hall, crystal chandeliers bathed the room in golden light. The air smelled of expensive perfume, power and secrets. Politicians, billionaires, diplomats. Every table carried influence. Kate scanned the room carefully, but she didn't see him. Her fingers tightened slightly around her clutch. "Where is he?" The chief leaned toward her. "Relax, baby. You look like you're hunting someone." Kate smiled sweetly. "I'm just admiring the environment." But inside, her pulse had begun to race. Then suddenly, the hall went quiet. Not gradually, instantly. Conversations died mid-sentence. Even the waiters froze. Kate frowned. Slowly, she turned. And that was when she saw him. He stood at the entrance like a man who didn't need to announce himself for the world to notice. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a perfectly tailored navy blue outfit that fit like authority itself had stitched it onto him. His skin glowed under the chandelier light like polished bronze. His jawline was sharp enough to cut glass. But it wasn't his looks that silenced the room. It was his presence, the kind that made powerful men sit straighter, the kind that made dangerous men cautious, the kind that made women forget what they were saying. Professor Toby had arrived. Kate's breath caught in her throat. Professor Toby was handsome, like the man exuded charm, luxury, and male beauty. Before Kate could strategize how to get close to him, he walked up to the president. The two men shook hands. The MC announced his presence. He sat for a few minutes and walked out again. For the rest of the evening, Kate kept scanning the hall,
hoping to catch a glimpse of him, but Toby never came back. They say all disappointments are blessings in disguise. If Kate had known that Toby leaving that evening was fate keeping her from trouble, she would have stayed far away from Toby. But alas, she went back home and called her reliable contact. And after a few hours, a text was sent to her with details on the next event Toby was going to attend. Kate had spent the entire morning preparing for the exclusive art showcase. She wanted to make an impression, not just on the artwork, but on those who appreciated it, and perhaps on someone very particular. Her outfit was sensational yet tasteful. A midnight green silk gown that hugged her tall, slim frame, accentuating curves in all the right places. Diamonds sparkled at her wrists and ears, not overbearing but just enough to signal refinement.
When she arrived at the venue, the gallery's grand doors opened to a hush of cultured murmurs. She scanned the crowd subtly, and then there he was, Professor Toby, standing in front of a striking abstract painting, tall and imposing in a perfectly tailored outfit that showcased his masculinity. Kate's pulse skipped. His posture alone spoke of authority and control. Their eyes met across the room. Kate held his gaze for a few seconds before looking away and letting herself drift toward a nearby piece. The feeling of being observed followed her, like gravity she could not escape. She lingered near a painting, examining it. Hanging around wealthy, cultured men over the years had given her an advantage. She could hold an intelligent conversation, stimulate their minds, and prove that she was much more than a beautiful face. She had read widely, absorbed enough to converse as though she had been trained in art herself. As Kate looked at the painting, her mind was far away. She was hoping Toby would walk up to her. Then she heard it. A deep baritone voice, smooth but commanding, close enough that her skin tingled. I hope you don't mind me interrupting, but I couldn't help noticing your interest in this piece. Kate turned slightly, pretending to examine the painting, though her heart had begun to race. Not at all, she said, keeping her tone light, confident. It's fascinating how the artist plays with light and shadow, don't you think? He nodded, his eyes never leaving hers. Exactly. Many people miss the subtle tension in the composition, but you notice. Kate smiled, a hint of playful pride in her expression. I've had a lot of practice noticing subtleties, she said, letting the words linger, teasing. They moved slowly through the gallery together, talking about color, form, and meaning. Kate found herself genuinely intrigued, not just by the man, but by the way he observed the world. There was intelligence, depth, and danger beneath his calm exterior. You speak like someone who appreciates life beyond appearances, he said softly, leaning slightly closer. Kate felt the heat of his presence brush against her arm. She allowed herself a small, teasing smile. I like to keep people guessing. Their conversation continued. At this point, they were flirting with each other, and Kate loved it. And by the end of the evening, the gallery was closing. Toby leaned closer, his voice smooth and persuasive. There's a new hotel opening nearby, a small private exhibition of rare pieces. Would you care to join me? Kate paused, sensing both excitement and risk, but her curiosity won. I think I'd like that, she replied, letting a small sparkle of mischief dance in her eyes. They arrived at the luxury hotel. Toby took her to his private suite. The conversation continued over fine wine. Minutes after, the two of them knew each other, like the Holy Book would say. That night, Kate had no idea that her life would never be the same. And soon, things were going to get completely out of her control. When she got home the following day, Toby had sent her transport fare that made her account bounce. Kate immediately transferred some money to her friend, then sent some to their contact. Kate couldn't believe she had bagged Toby. The Professor Toby? But while Kate was narrating to her friends how she was able to get him, their resource person called. By the time Kate finished talking to him, she was a bit worried. After talking on the phone, Yemi could see that her friend had heard a bad news. What's going on? Yemi asked her friend. He said Toby na catch and release, Kate said. Yemi pondered on it for a while. Maybe you need to forget about it. At most, see him once or twice, bill him and then withdraw.
that guy gives us legit info. If he says the guy way is not clear, then disengage, Yemi said. But Kate was not going to do any of that, not after the wild and passionate night she had with Toby. The money was just an icing. She enjoyed being with Toby. She was addicted.
Months after, Kate kept seeing Toby, and she enjoyed every moment of it. He took her to all the fabulous places she had not yet visited. Then one evening, he told her that he booked an exclusive hotel at the outskirts of town for them to spend the weekend. Yemi told her friend to stop seeing Toby. "I am the one that brought that guy to you. Please, babe, leave this guy. There's a reason he is catch and release." Yemi begged, but Kate was past reasoning. She was addicted to the money and the man. On the evening of their weekend getaway, Kate was so excited. She arrived at the hotel at the time he told her to and waited at the lobby for him. Then her phone started ringing. It was Toby. If you are enjoying this story, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. I share intriguing African tales on this channel. Do share this video with your loved ones that would enjoy it. A very warm shout out goes to Phoebe. Oh, I loved reading your comment on my last video. Thank you. Back to the story. Toby told Kate that he would be a bit late because something came up. He told her to get the key card at the reception and wait for him. Order anything you like and make yourself comfortable. I will be there before you know it. Kate wasn't surprised. Sometimes Toby did run a little late for their meetups, but Kate had no idea what was waiting for her. She had every reason to worry. A warm shout out goes to Terry, Ruth, and folktales watching from USA. I'm sending warm virtual hugs to Dulcie watching from Zimbabwe, Tana from Gambia, and Nana from South Africa. Thank you for your comments on my video. Reading your comments are truly the highlight of my day. Back to the story. Kate walked into the hotel, unaware that danger awaited. Kate had gotten the key card and gotten into the suite. The hotel was luxurious and exquisite. Kate had heard that getting a booking at the hotel was very exclusive, and Kate understood why. She decided to freshen up before calling room service to order a meal. She stepped into the restroom to freshen up, and by the time she got back into the room, what greeted her was unfathomable. A woman dressed in expensive yellow silk and diamonds was standing in the middle of the room. Kate froze. Who are you? And what are you doing here?" she asked, slowly edging toward the phone. She needed security. The woman smiled calmly. "There's no need to call anyone. Nobody is coming." At that exact moment, 3 hefty, muscular men walked in and shut the door behind them. Kate's blood ran cold. She felt like a rat caught in a trap. "Young lady," the woman said, sitting gracefully on the couch, "have a seat. We need to talk about my husband. I know you're here to be with him." She leaned forward slightly. "And be very careful what you say, because those might be your last words." Kate knew she was in trouble. She had no idea that what she was inside was bigger than trouble. She had just stepped into a trap that had no escape. Kate quickly walked to the bed and sat down. "Young lady, I really must commend you," the woman said in a very soft voice. "You have been sleeping with my husband for the past 6 months, flying all over the world with him. I'm sure you fancied yourself a second wife already," she said before breaking into a very dry laugh. "Sorry, my dear, I didn't introduce myself properly. I am Peggy Toby." "And you are?" the lady asked. Kate didn't know if she was to respond. She had never felt more terrified in her entire life. Before Kate could blink, one of the men stepped forward, slowly, deliberately. He stopped inches from her face, and then he gave her a slap that sent her flying into the bed. Then he went back to where he had been standing. Kate must have been laying down for an eternity. It felt as though her jaw had dislocated. "Sit up," Peggy said, and Kate immediately got up, afraid she was going to receive another slap. "And you are?" Peggy asked again. I am Kate," Kate stammered. Peggy adjusted in her seat. "Of course you are. But before we continue,
I have a better sweet that had been prepared exclusively for you and I, for our little meeting, Peggy said. Before Peggy knew what was happening, one of the muscled men carried her and put her over his shoulder. The other person gathered her things. Kate found herself being carried into a lift, and she was carried into another suite. The muscled man brought her down and placed her on the bed. A chair was brought out for Peggy to sit, and she sat down and arranged her gown ever so gently and elegantly. I hope you like this suite. I made sure my staff reserved the best suite for our little tete-a-tete when I found out he was bringing you into my hotel. I had to plan our first meeting. Hopefully, it will be our last, Peggy said. She snapped her fingers and one of the muscled men left and came back with water. I have waited for the right time to have a sit-down with you, Peggy said, and went into a full expose of Kate's entire existence, down to the day of her last period. What terrified Kate was when she mentioned the amount of money her first sugar daddy had paid her. Kate felt naked. I have 1,000 colorful ways I can end your little tryst with my husband, but I feel for your mother. I am a mother as well. It would be a shame if she loses her only daughter, Peggy said, and Kate knew she was in danger. Toby is my mess. I made him and I can easily break him, but what's the point? I guess I enjoy terrifying you little gold diggers. I enjoy the little game of tracking you little rats down, Peggy added. Then she went quiet. Kate didn't know if she should beg or be quiet. Then she got up and walked to the door. Peggy paused at the door. Oh, and Kate. Kate looked up weakly. Peggy smiled. Try running. I enjoy the chase. And then she opened the door and walked out. The three men followed. Kate immediately got up and searched her bag that was brought from the other room. Her phone was missing. They had taken her phone. Kate lay there and cried out her eyes. She remembered all her mother's warnings. For 2 days, Kate lay in her beautiful suite alone. She had been locked up. Luckily, she found food in the fridge and an oven at the kitchen in the suite. Meanwhile, her friend Yemi had been locked up in police custody. She had been having a little session in the bedroom with one of her sponsors, and the man had passed out, or so she thought. By the time she called the attention of the hotel staff, the man was confirmed to have passed. He had left the world in the height of pleasure. She was immediately handed over to the police. Unluckily for Yemi, the man's wife was a captain in the military. She had been locked up for 2 days. On the third night, Kate had been released. Her phone was handed over to her. The car she had parked outside was gone. Immediately she walked to the hotel gate. She took to her heels, afraid Peggy might change her mind and order her to be locked up again. After she got home, she went through her phone and realized her account had been wiped clean. Kate checked for where she had kept the documents to her houses. They were gone. Kate suddenly felt scared and unsafe in her own home. She called her mother and asked for money. Kate used the money to run for her life. She went back to her parents' house, where she stayed and started life again. But this time, she was going to make an honest living. The sponsors, sugar daddies, and slay queen era was gone. As for Yemi, the matter was posted by a blogger who was looking to blow up his page with a little gossip about the man that passed. The story blew up. Yemi was later released when the autopsy results showed that he died of a cardiac arrest. But the scandal had already destroyed her image. Her boyfriend dumped her, and Yemi also had to leave Abuja because the scandal was too much. Even her sponsors wouldn't even come close to her. Do you think Peggy went too far? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section below. Luxury and thrill may seem irresistible and intoxicating, but true safety and peace come from honesty and making wise, responsible choices. If you enjoyed this story, then I am sure you'll enjoy this one on your screen. Click to watch, and I'll see you there.